you know, we go about our business. We're an artisanal supplier.
I suppose we don't have any affiliations to any of the popular websites.
There's that.
That some have, or actual radio stations where they have actual recording equipment.
But what we do have in spades is talent. So, you know, we may be underfunded and ill-equipped, but we've got the chops to back it up.
Well, basically, we have, you know, all we have is our army, the SLP family to promote us.
That's it.
We don't get put on homepages of websites or anything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, that's why we're not at the top of the list.
Yes, because of you fuckers. Right. There we go. But
maybe if you did some reviews or recommend or
I done an iTunes review for a while.
Reviews or anything on iTunes. Well, we might have done. When was the last time you went on?
I quite often like to read about nice things people have said about me. Last week, at some point, we've had a few reviews in the last year.
I think the last one might even be Al Witts.
Possibly so. Yeah.
Anyway,
but share us in every possible fashion.
But there are some other good podcasts out there that
there's our friends, isn't there? There's our friends This Week in League who are phenomenal. There's the League One show, which is very, very good. League Culture have got a new one coming out. Yeah,
that's a very informative one. There's less of the sort of back and forth and more of the actual interesting stuff. On that, same with the League One show, that's good coverage of that level. League Culture does coverage of the sort of wider world of rugby league, some of the hidden stories you might not know about and stuff. I'm guessing on his next edition he'll be talking about maybe the Nordic Cup and things like that. They're always checking in with the growth of the game in North America and all over the world, really. So that's a good one. The RL on RY guys.
Yeah.
What's theirs called? The
Rugby League on West Yorkshire's. It's just that.
Yeah, they do a show, don't they? Basically before we record, so we don't really have time to always listen to it. That they podcast, I sometimes catch one. They're quite good. They're professionals.
Yeah, I quite like Dave Woods on BBC.
Yeah, the BBC one often has a good topic, so it's a shorter podcast. But good topics, and then there are some other ones out there that are, you know, we love our mates at The Devil in the Detail. There's specific to their club and their community, but they do a great job at that. And I wish, like everything Salford related, I wish it was bigger.
Yeah. Well, next season they'll be able to call it Bulls in a China Shop. So fine.
Then there are other ones out there too.
Yes, there are. It's astounding actually once you get into podcasting more broadly what choice there is out there.
And that's without really touching on the breadth of NRL ones you mentioned our good friends at This Week in League, but there's other
Boom Rookies, Ladies in League's worth a listen.
Yeah,
they're good.
There's lots.
So let's stop plugging them.
Plenty to keep you entertained once you've listened to us and made sure we're top of the list.
There you are, exactly.
Sarah McKenzie again. Sorry. At Alfie Wolf said, stick the Boston... Oh, we've covered this. I should have moved this to next to Lee. Sorry about this. Stick the bus in reverse. Mark's been to York on a bell-ringing club day trip. Tom, he handed that to you on a plate, son.
The thing is, and I think I mentioned this to Alfie at the time, it's... Given the length of time that we've known each other, this is like old material, isn't it? Really, this is like going back to early days stuff of you and me. So it's I kind of feel like I've done it. Really, it certainly has been addressed though. If that helps, it certainly came up oddly enough quite a bit. But no, it's
also my ex's sister is one of our very best of friends, isn't she? So obviously she's of the bell ringing
persuasion
family. So more of that would be aimed in that direction from our life, wouldn't it? Yeah. And it's not. It means it's not that weird for us.
It does, and it helps. I think that the two main bell ringers, Sid and Janet, who we've been talking about, are actually two of the most lovely people you could hope to meet. So it makes it quite hard. That it's not like there's a pronounced mean streak there like there is with you and I that means you're all right giving them a bit of grief. They're kind of just very nice people, aren't they? So
some of the nicest people I've ever met are bell ringers.
Exactly. There you go. Well, I can say that myself as well. Okay.
What a bell ringer is.
Yeah. In this day and age, I think it's important that we represent all minorities, including the bell ringers.
Scoots McKenzie at Scoots28 back on for woohoo! Finally passed my course. More time for crocheting and listening to Super League Pod.
Fantastic.
Well done, Sarah. Yeah, formally. I mean, we saw the tweet come through, but holding off to congratulate her fully on the show. I'm sure everyone will give her a round of applause.
Bravo, indeed.
Well done for passing your course. I'm sure there's lots of other people out there who've had results recently, or working towards things because it's that sort of time of the year, or had exams. Best of wishes to everyone around that. But well done, Sarah.
That's it. We usually have a load of lads graduating and then leave us behind, don't we?
Because they all go and
so, like a year or two
become
ago,
accomplished professionals.
A year or two ago, when we had DFS Sports knocking about, where's Fowler gone? He's done now. He's far too big for our. So Ethan O'Gorman will go the same way, and there's always like a production line.
Yeah, there was Josh as well.
There was, yeah. So we're
still friends of the show, but I don't feel like solid contributors that they might have been. Ollie as well. He's been busy with his uni stuff.
They've had their use of us, and now they're on to bigger, better things.
Yeah,
it's lovely to see, though, isn't it? It's nice to have that sounding board.
And I enjoyed that Dan Slot got a pump in from his missus's lot. That's always quite funny, I think.
Indeed.
Just before they flew off for a holiday for a week together.
Fantastic. Well, at least didn't have to have it to watch it or hear about it in a bar on holiday or anything. Checking Twitter. Fair play. Who's the final feedback?
Darts at Mitchell Darts. It said 1 in 3 in the quiz this week. I hang my head in shame.
It's not often I beat Mitchell Darts, so I'm proud of that.
I don't think you're going to beat him this week.
I suspect not.
No,
I don't even. Is it Australian?
Yes.
Oh, great. This is going to be bad. Cool. Well, that is your feedback and shout-outs taken care of. Now let's take a look at a plethora of news from around the world of rugby league. So, to the news then, and we'll start down at the Menderhose Jungle because Castleford have accepted a settlement in excess of £200,000 and ended their legal action against former winger Denny Solomona, his new club's Sale Sharks, and agent Andrew Clark. The 23-year-old, you'll recall, retired, inverted commas, from rugby league to join rugby union club Sale on a 3-year deal in December 2016. The Tigers were seeking £500,000 for Solomona's transfer as he was contracted to them until 2018. But they have now agreed a joint offer made by the defendants. Castleford CEO Steve Gill said this has been a very difficult few months for the club. It would have been very easy to walk away and put all of this down to experience, but Castleford Tigers is not a selling club anymore. We have demonstrated over the last 3 years that the club is ambitious. We want to maintain our existing squad and continue to improve. The approach from Sale was not welcome. We made our position clear, but we have no control over the fact that Solomona was going to walk out on his contract. We believe lessons have now been learned, and we hope that if this is to happen again, rugby union clubs would respect the fact that league players who are under contract cannot be enticed away without fear of financial penalties. Sale, Solomona and Mr Clark have had ample opportunities over the last few months to apologise for their actions. Neither has done so, which we find disappointing as well as disrespectful for the shabby way this transfer was conducted. However, we have to move on, and the compensation payment is now likely to be used for team strengthening to help us achieve our ambitions. We wish to thank our legal team of Richard Kramer and Martin Williams of Front Row Legal and Nick Randall QC for their guidance and assistance in achieving this successful outcome. Now that the matter has come to an end, we can focus our energies on continuing to develop the club both on and off the field. Strong words from Steve Gill.
Yeah, clearly still plenty of ill feeling, but
well, you'll have to jump on a Castleford forum to see that, mate.
Yeah, they've accepted the think about this world, right, because this is what would have been happening at the start of this season. Think about this, if Solomona was still there, they were going to either have Solomona or more likely Greg Eden as their number one this season.
Yeah.
Zach Hardacre wouldn't have been coming in. No. This money is going to be used to pay the Zach Hardacre transfer fee and then spend some money that's left over
on whatever else. So, yeah.
You would think. So that's
or maybe it's going to be used on some of that sweet Ashton Sims money. Probably not.
But that might have been a little bit of a different world, but it's worked out in the grand scheme of things pretty well for Castleford actually, and so they can walk away at this stage with an agreement and not keep pursuing it further. It does demonstrate that rugby league isn't willing to just roll over and let us be taken advantage of by our bigger, richer
counterparts across
not necessarily bigger in certain ways, but bigger in other ways, but certainly
financially more
generally, richer and more greedy or selfish or whatever you might say inclined counterparts over on the other code. But it doesn't solve the issue at this stage, I don't think, like a court case might have. A court case might have said Dennis Solomonic wasn't right to do what he did in terms of this whole retiring argument. So we might have to cross this bridge again. I think it was Neil Hudgell who sort of commented on these sorts of things of it isn't really as big as a success story for rugby league as the original statements from people sort of painting it as. But it does demonstrate that we're not willing to just let them walk all over us, and it's likely to cost them some money somewhere along the way somehow. And it has done. Plus, on top of the £200,000 or so fee, there was the £100,000 up to £100,000 in legal costs. I'm not sure if the costs from Casper reached £100,000.
I suspect they might have exceeded that given the time it's been going on. If you've got a look at the number of briefs they've got involved, it'll certainly be in and around that mark. I'd have thought if you've got a barrister involved for that length of time. So
possibly the fact that it never got to trial might. I don't know. I don't know enough about the way legal costings are, but we can all move on now, I suppose. And if Castleford do win something this season, the odds on, I'm sure, to win the League Leaders' Shield now, then they'll be satisfied of how this has all worked out, I would suggest.
There you go. Former England coach Steve McNamara has joined Catalan Dragons as their head coach on a 2.5-year deal. McNamara is 45 and has succeeded Laurent Freysineau at the French club after being released from his contract as assistant coach with NRL side the New Zealand Warriors. McNamara coached England between 2010 and 2015 and led them to the semi-finals of the 2013 World Cup. Jérôme Guisset and Michael Monaghan will stay as assistant coaches. Former Bradford coach McNamara will arrive in Perpignan on Tuesday in time to take charge of Saturday's Super League fixture with Warrington. Interesting appointment. Brings a raft of experience.
It certainly
brings a broadened horizon in that he's gone off to the Southern Hemisphere to ply his trade and learn from some of the best over there, or certainly in the best environments over there.
It's worked under arguably the best coach Catalans had, certainly in terms of the style of rugby they were playing, was far more attractive and consistent under
with Trent Robinson.
And once he got his systems in place, than it has been under Freysineau. It's interesting that he's keeping on those assistants. I don't know if there's going to be I don't know. It feels like we were speaking about this, weren't we, last time, that there needs to be a culture change at Catalan. Whether Steve McNamara is the kind of character to bring that in whilst retaining a similar background setup.
Well, possibly he just brings his own backroom staff in the off-season this time round and uses the experience of Guisset and Monaghan and their knowledge of the squad to kind of supplement what he
and sees if they can do what he wants and needs them to be able to do, I suppose.
Possibly. Give them a shout, give them a run at it, and then if not, bring in his own team. But something needs to change at Catalan, so hopefully he's going to take you by the scruff of the neck. And
do you think this change has come in time to save their top 8 hopes?
It's all fairly bunched up round that sort of neck of the woods, isn't it? No.
Do you think,
if I'm honest, I don't think they're winning this weekend.
Do you think that when the McNamara era inevitably comes to an end, as all coaching eras do, it will be deemed a success?
I'd like to say yes, for the sake of the Catalan fans, but has there ever been an end of a McNamara era deemed a success? I suspect it'll be 3 for 3. So he's one of those guys that strikes me as a cracking Robin but a woeful Batman. By which I think he makes a great assistant coach, and he's probably very technically astute in terms of his knowledge of the game. He doesn't necessarily step up as a leader from that position in terms of head coaching, where you've got to be much more removed and brutal and make those decisions. I think at Bradford he was always a bit pally with certain players, and people got in the squad because they were more mates of Steve Max than anything else.
But you won't necessarily have this. I mean, in the squad, the only players I guess he'll know pretty well will probably be, well, he'll know Myler a bit because he played for England a little bit under him, didn't he? When we won that European Nations Cup thing, he was the halfback in that squad, wasn't he? And Sam Mower obviously has played with it under him
True.
from his Roosters spell that went up until last